Picture this: 3081 Navy SEALs trapped in a valley. Ammunition running low. Enemies closing in from every ridge. Command had already begun drafting the loss report. But in that moment, when every rule dictated retreat, one young pilot refused to accept defeat. This is the story of Captain Delaney Thomas, a 26-year-old A-10 pilot, dismissed by some as too emotional, too inexperienced. Yet when the valley became a death trap, she redrew the map and brought every single man home alive. Before we dive in, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I love seeing our Army family across the globe. SEAL, Team 7 to 381 men were trapped in what had become a kill box. Helicopters couldn't reach them. F-16s couldn't strike danger close. Command quietly began drafting casualty reports. One person refused to accept that, Captain Delaney Thomas. 26, Irish-born. Labeled too emotional. Assigned to logistics while others flew combat missions, she was small next to her Warthog, but she knew that aircraft inside and out. The A-10's 30mm GAU-8 could carve its name in steel. In the right hands, it could thread a needle at 50 meters. They said she didn't have those hands. At 6:30 a.m., the Afghan sun baked the flight line. Major Sanderson told her again, no flight today. You're on formation work with the new pilots. I need steady leadership translation, not you. Delaney swallowed her frustration, nodded, and continued preparing. She had already spent months doing the work no one asked her to. Night simulations, terrain studies, ballistic tables, memorizing cold post basics for radio sanity checks, calculating manual backup targeting in case the pods failed. She mapped valleys and ridgelines, highlighting the blind spots where doctrine would fail. No one wanted her analysis, but she studied anyway. In a briefing, she asked one question. What if this movement isn't prep, but a trap designed to isolate us where air support can't reach? The answer: track the equipment. So she did. At night, in a self-accessed simulator, she ran the scenario repeatedly. Friendly forces surrounded, missiles in the hills, danger close all around. She practiced neutralizing SAMs without breaking off the run, threading a 30mm scalpel between friendly strobes and enemy muzzle flashes. 47 iterations, tighter, faster, more precise. At 1:47 p.m., the base sirens tore through routine. Screens filled with the Coringle-style valley she knew by heart. Radio chatter. SEAL Team 7 in detachments 381 men surrounded by 800 fighters. 2 confirmed SAM sites. Enemy on 3 ridgelines. Friendlies trapped in a natural bowl. F-16s were 15 to 25 minutes out, restricted from engaging within 100 meters of friendly positions. Sanderson asked for options. Doctrine offered nothing. Delaney offered the A-10. Denied. We're not risking an untested pilot, they said. Comes reported 30 minutes of ammo remaining. Time was the only answer. Delaney stepped into the hall, counted 30 seconds, and did the math. 10 minutes to get airborne. 12 minutes to the valley. A razor-thin window. She left a one-line postscript in the letter she'd been keeping for months. If you're reading this, I acted because 381 Americans were dying while paperwork argued with itself. She suited up. Aircraft 297 fueled, arm full drum of 30mm Mavericks rockets, muscle memory engaged. Oil, hydraulics, chaff, flares, pod. In 90 seconds later, the hog roared to life. On tower frequency, nothing. On guard, everything. Thunderbolt 7 departing Kandahar, inbound Coringle. 381 Americans in danger. Breaking the rules to save them? Wheels up at 2:23 p.m., the Valley radio was ragged. Trident Actual, the SEAL ground commander, tried to maintain composure, but his cadence betrayed dwindling ammo. F-16s reported visual on the target area, but could not engage danger close. Delaney keyed up. Trident Actual, Thunderbolt 7. Mark your position IR, I'll work your edge. Silence. Then hope. Thunderbolt 7 confirmed danger close authority. I'm authorized to save Americans. Designate beneath her. The valley unfolded exactly as she had drawn it in red pencil at 3 a.m., 3 ridge lines overlapped arcs. Enemy machine guns chewing craters into SEAL positions. She struck the first gun with a precise 2-second burst. Dust blossomed. Fire stopped. Roll. Pull. Second run. Enemy assault team on the north slope, 70 meters from friendlies. A quick half-second stitch across rocks. Movement halted. No blue strobes endangered. Thunderbolt 7, solid hits. Trident actual called in. Western Ridge, 75 meters. That was the death zone where jets often caused casualties. But the hog lived there. Delaney sliced left, lined the reticle just below the rock lip, and pressed a half-second burst, tungsten threading between friendly strobes and enemy fire. The valley paused. Everyone below realized an A-10 had just struck a zone no one dared touch. Kandahar to Thunderbolt 7. Sanderson's voice cracked. Return to base immediately. You are not authorized. Delaney flipped the command net quietly, leaving only cast and ground frequencies alive. Past permission, she continued running her plan. Kill air defense's first Maverick into a hot SAM site on the southern spur. Terrain mask behind the ridge to break line of sight. Open lanes. Stitch ridge positions anchoring crossfires, not the ones that looked meanest on the scope. Short, precise bursts. Dust concealed friendlies. Sound broke enemy morale. Talk the ground Trident. Push 3 teams west under my fire. Stay below the rock lip. I'm walking rounds uphill ahead of you. Minutes later, the radio cadence shifted. Less panic. More action. Moving. Set. Next bound. In the operations center, radar tracked a lone A-10 carving armored GI through a valley of red icons. F-16 lead chimed in over base net, observing the A-10 placing rounds within 25 meters of friendly positions, either suicidal or surgical. So far, surgical. SEAL communications fed into the room. Thunderbolt 7, that's the gun pinning our east. Clear to move. Copy. Shift north. I'll take the crest in 3, 2, gun. Those who had mocked Delaney Thomas went silent. Haze from the Inspector General's office reminded Sanderson of what the book required. Morrison pointed at the map, insisting on what the moment demanded. She's the only asset that can do this. Support her, or write the eulogy. Sanderson hesitated, caught between career and conscience. Delaney's third pass erased the second SAM with a pop-up Maverick from behind terrain. Now helicopters could begin thinking about entry, but not yet. First, the exit path. She guided Trident Actual along a seam she had identified months before in satellite photos. A shallow fold on the west ridge that no one would notice from overhead unless they had walked the topography line by line. Thunderbolt. 7. That fold is real. We can move in it. Do it. I'll rake the high points 50 meters ahead of you. 30mm rounds thudded like a giant zipper closing across stone. Enemy fire faltered, then stopped. The SEALs bounded. For the first time all day, blue icons moved. An enemy element tried to roll the corridor from above 50 meters. Then 40 Delaney flattened the dive, brought the pipper low, and pulsed a 3/4-second burst that shaved the ridge like a carpenter's plane across stone. Silence followed. Good effect, Trident Actual said, steady but breathless. We're at the mouth. 2 more positions on the far lip. Mark with spark, she said. A bright IR winked, and she split it by a body length. No friendlies hit. The corridor held. By the time F-16s could legally engage outer positions, Delaney had already decapitated the inner ones. Helicopters spun up. A dust trail of ground QRF snaked toward the pickup zone. The valley transformed from last stand to organized breakout in under 15 minutes. Back at base, Sanderson finally acted. He opened the support floodgate stankers, deconfliction, full ISR picture to Delaney's net, and a medevac plan keyed to her corridor. Thunderbolt 7, a new voice said, calm and authoritative. Kandahar has you on primary. We're with you. Delaney didn't respond on command net. She didn't need to. The only voices that mattered were on the ground. Trident actual, continue the push. I'm on your shoulder. Corridor existed barely, a carved zipper of silence through a mountain screaming war. Delaney remained welded to Trident actual's position. Transforming the valley into a sequence of micro-battles she could win in seconds. A pickup truck gun team crested high right. Too thin for a Maverick, too fleeting for rockets. She dipped, let the pipper kiss the hood, and tapped. The truck collapsed. The gunner vanished in dust. West High is cold, she called. Move on the east spur. RPG team tried to offset. She anticipated, fired a flare and a half-second stitch across the muzzle flash. Threat neutralized. SEALs advanced by bounds 3 teams, then 4, then all of them flowing like water, finding gravity's natural lines. Every bound, Delaney put 30 millimeters exactly where it made the next 10 seconds survivable. Thunderbolt 7. We're at the LZ fold. Trident actual, voice steadier. 2 positions still raking us. Paint 1, an ire wink. 1 pulse of gun, and the ridge exhaled. Paint 2, second wink. Shaved off the mountain. LZ workable. Trident actual confirmed. Request rotors. Rotors inbound. Base finally offered CAS net support now. Fully committed chocks. 3 minutes. 3 minutes was a lifetime. If the ridge awoke, Delaney ensured it wouldn't. The first Chinook surfed its own brownout into the fold. Delaney pushed to the rim, hunting any line-of-sight threats. 2 muzzle flashes blinked. She pressed a diagonal burst like a zipper across stone. The flashes died. Chalk 1 lifted, taking the first sticks aboard. Second, Chinook. Another dust cloud. APKM team shifted to get low. She snipped them with 3 rounds. Shock to lifting green light. A third bird risked it, heavy and stubborn. Delaney watched its climb like a guardian. A SAM seeker chirped. Last threat. Already moving, already low, behind the ridge. Missiles searched for heat, found only rock. She popped up, found the launcher team, ended that threat with a short, merciless tap. Trident actual, last sticks on chalk 3 and 4. We're almost out. An enemy sprinted the lip in desperation, feet kicking shale, rifles high. Delaney drew a bright line between them and the LZ. The sprint stopped. Chalk 4 lifted, the AMC, all aboard. We are off. The very last rear security men escaped on a small tailgate bird. Delaney held fire until swallowed by the brown cloud. Then she swept the ridge again, not to kill, but to signal, not today. Yet. Not while I'm here. The valley became only wind and dust. Headsets filled with breath, not bullets. Trident actual clipped in. Formal, Thunderbolt 7, be advised. 381 souls accounted for. 0 friendly Kia during exfil. We owe you our lives, copy, she said. Nothing more. She flew lazy asterns high and wide until the last rotor became a dot, and the corridor healed behind them like a closed wound. On return, she checked fuel, weapons, flares, everything fine. 1 Maverick remained, gun rounds light, hands steady, mind clear. She keyed command net. Kandahar, Thunderbolt 7 RTB. Silence. Then Sanderson, controlled, unreadable. Thunderbolt 7 cleared direct. Runway stretched ahead like a question. Touchdown smooth, taxi slow. Shut down by the book. Can it be released? The base and crews erupted. Not a pep rally, but raw respect. Delaney climbed down. Sanderson waited. You departed without authorization. You violated orders. You engaged at ranges beyond comfort zones. Sir? But I also brought home 381 Americans with 0 friendly KIA. A long pause. Then, Captain Thomas, you will answer for your decisions. Her answer. Math, maps, method. Technique over theater. Statements, timelines, careful explanations. Insubordination recognized, but doctrine revised. 6 months later, her patch read, Close Air Support Development. She taught from first principles, read the ground like a book. Every fold a word, ridge a sentence, valley a paragraph. Gun discipline. Taps, not strings. Dust is your smoke, not your blindfold. Shoot the nodes that matter. Talk ground, not ego. Pilots who once smirked took notes. New lieutenants learned that technology is a promise, not a plan. The plan is you. Delaney walked the flight line, hand on titanium like it was alive. Checked bolts. Wrote margin notes unseen by others. Letters occasionally arrived, coins, patches, single sentences of thanks. She never opened them before flying one evening after a training hop. A line crew chief said, "Ma'am, good to know if we ever get pinned bad." "You've been where the map stops." Delaney smiled. The map never stops. Someone just has to draw the next line. Not one pilot broke rules. One pilot proved the principle: when lives hang in the balance, skill and courage can turn a tomb into a road-home captain. Delaney Thomas showed the world that one pilot can redraw the map and bring 381 Americans home. If this story moved you, salute in the comments and subscribe for more true military stories of valor and sacrifice.